Hi guys, welcome to your Moon in Aquarius reading. We're going to be taking a look at the dates of June 7th to June 9th. You know how we go. These readings are ultimately timeless and signless. As long as it's manifesting before you and it resonates, then it's likely for you. If it doesn't resonate, please keep in mind that it was still able to appear before you in your timeline. So chances are the messages are here for you, but they're still unfolding. So just give it a little bit of time so that your conscious mind can kind of notice. If you'd like to work more personally with me, you know exactly where to find me. All of my information is on this platform, wherever it is that you're accessing this video. So let's jump right in. If you haven't had a chance to look at the June 2023 reading as yet, I really invite you to go ahead and take a look. And be advised that the guides often give a heads up about the general theme that's affecting the collective. And this month, one of the major energies that are going to be happening for this collective is medical training. Yay! So keep an eye out for upcoming videos and segments that we're going to be doing, because it looks like the guides want to highlight some techniques for us. I guess things are getting real out here, and we need to really have some tools in our back pocket for, I guess, I don't want to say battling ourselves, but at the end of the day, isn't that what it really is? Just meeting ourselves and working with ourselves through other people. Also, what else was I feeling? I'm feeling at this time, as this moon is in the sign of Aquarius, remember, we're just looking at the energies and as they are right now, as this moon is transiting the sign of Aquarius. So whatever the guides want to bring through, I just ask them to bring it through, whether it's about the moon or medical stuff or just anything, right? We're just going to honor the information. And in fact, the first card that came out today was this. Ding! The Council. Yay! So yeah, thank you to our lovely guides for being here. Yeah, so one of the major themes that are coming up right now is playfulness. So the guides are really asking us to introduce more playfulness. Now, as you can understand, and as I'm sure you remember, we used to play a lot as children. And while some people may get annoyed at the way that children are often playing and running around, you have to understand that that's actually the way that they gather knowledge. The same goes for animals. They gather, well, we're animals as well, but animals gather knowledge about their environment through play. It's a very, very important part of existence. And we have inner children, and our inner child is more of who we are at our core than who we have built ourselves up through conditioning to become. Okay, so just in case you didn't catch that, anytime you go back to your inner child, whether you're doing inner child exercises or life just renders you silly and you end up getting back to a state of your inner child, just know that you're heading in the right direction. It's not that you are being wrong or you're being immature or arrested development. That's you returning to where you're going to end up anyway. So back to the inner child, and it's important to understand that the inner child holds your wisdom. Remember, the universe does not see the inner child the way we see children here on this planet. And in fact, as many of us know, a lot of people don't know properly how to see children and cannot appreciate them for the gift that they are, because they remind us about who we were. You know, innocent. Remember that word, innocent? Innocent meaning we weren't making things mean anything. In fact, anything that we did assign a meaning to, it wasn't informed by some fear-based idea. It was informed by our creativity and happiness. And wow, I was just playing with the frogs down at the swamp, and I'm seeing a stick here. I'm going to pick it up and pretend it's a frog, and now we're going to jump. That's the kind of innocence. And while it may not be the same type of innocence that helps you to balance your taxes, it's also important to remember that taxes are man-made and they're not real. They just occur here in this 3D plane for, reasons unbeknownst to us. So just remember that anytime you are moving towards your inner child and bringing in more play, bringing in more joy, you're actively creating the conditions for, say it with me, healing. Yay! Because remember, healing at its very core, healing is just changing your beliefs, because it is your beliefs on some level of your field or on multiple levels of your field that create physical illness and maladies and accidents and all that. It's beliefs. So when we're talking about healing, we're clearing up and transmuting our beliefs. The issue is that sometimes to heal these beliefs and these misperceptions, it takes multiple lifetimes. So please don't get it in your mind like I've done everything and I haven't made headway in this. Sometimes your headway happens in the blink of an eye and you don't even notice it because you've worked through it in so many lifetimes that today it was just an easy answer for you to avoid or to engage in, whereas in the past there would have been a struggle. So if you're struggling with something, either you feel compelled to go towards it or you feel compelled to go, or repelled away from it or compelled to run away from it, that is a clear distinction that there is an electrical charge that needs to be balanced, right? So we do have the Justice card here. Spirit is saying that one of the themes is playfulness, of course, because it does relate to your inner child, but the point of this playfulness that is coming in and this return to joy and adherence to your own principles of joy are because you're being asked to balance out energies. And with that being said, I'm going to take a sip of this tea right here. I hope you guys have your hot beverages, so please always enjoy beverage when you come to watch these. So hold on a sec. Let's sip together. Yummers, okay. All right. So something I'm seeing here in these cards is a lot of duality, two-ness. And it's interesting that I said that. I just looked up, it said 6:33, 6 minutes 33. And I haven't edited this video to put the opening and ending cards. So to me, it's purely 6 minutes and 33. Wow, I just looked up 6 minutes and 44. So we're seeing that 3333 and that 3344. I'm seeing the Lovers card. I'm seeing Union card. I'm seeing these two people. I'm seeing this right here in the two. We're seeing the two right there. We're seeing the two right there. And it dawned on me as I was just observing that, oh yeah, we're in the month of June. Hello, June, Gemini, the twins. So it's funny because the guides were having a little bit of a chuckle about a few seconds ago, because when I was looking at here, the guides were like, who do you guys think you're interacting with each day? It's just yourself. And they always tell us that, and we understand that. And they understand that we don't understand that at a visceral level. But do we understand that we don't understand that at a visceral level? We understand it on a logical level if you subscribe to the idea that everything that you see is called to you by your own energy. And if you believe that what you see is what you project outward from your energetic field onto the field around you. In that case, as the Course in Miracles teaches us, you don't see anything. We're not seeing anything. The only thing that we're seeing is light, because that is all there really is. Love, light, right? There's just this field that's around us, but you are giving it the form and the meaning that it has because of the beliefs that you hold. Your beliefs are so strong. Now, that's why when you become heartbroken, when you go through certain things and you're feeling a certain type of way, we know we can just reduce it one day to be like, oh, I broke my own heart. And why I use the word visceral is because when we say certain things, they're just empty. They absolutely fall on deaf ears. They don't mean anything to us. And guess what? They mean even less when we are going through our pains. You cannot tell somebody who just went through a massive heartbreak from their husband or wife and they're getting a divorce and somebody's trying to take the house and others are trying to take the kids. You can't tell that person, hey, you were just, projecting yourself and you're married to yourself and you were arguing with yourself and you all this. They're not going to hear it, because in that moment, what they need is triage, for lack of a better word. They have emotional stuff that are agitated, that are triggered. That's their stuff from inside coming up, and it's a cycle of stimulus and projecting meaning, stimulus projecting meaning, stimulus projecting meaning. But when people kind of make their way through all of that, right, and they're finally feeling themselves again, they're feeling better, they're happy, they're not even tripping over that last situation anymore, because it just doesn't hurt them as much anymore. They don't feel as triggered by it anymore. And now they're in a better position to start to see how what was occurring was due to the meanings that they gave it. Because someone can do something to you, but it is ultimately the meaning that you give it that breaks your heart or causes you to say, I'm going to move on, right? It's really up to you. And when we really come through the other end of healing on whatever issue it is, we start to realize, oh, I'm the common denominator. And so the higher up in your healing and awareness you go, and this is just energetically speaking as well, the higher up you go as a spirit, as a soul, as an entity, whatever, the more you're going to reach into, I'm going here because they're not even letting me go up higher. They can see my hands like stop right here. Oh, look at this line. Yeah, because there's a certain line, see how they're using the pictures? There's a certain line where it's more like you need to have a higher perspective. Maybe your higher self or your soul would be better able to vibe with certain ideas. But the higher up you go, the more you start to acknowledge, understand, and accept your sovereignty. And your sovereignty, when I say that, you understand that with sovereignty, yeah, sure, it comes ultimate responsibility, but comes the truth that no one really feels comfortable in really delving into. And that is, when you're sovereign, you are an agent. You are moving of your own accord. You are in your own volition. 11 minutes, 22 seconds. Let me take a sip and then I will, it's interesting because they want me to put this card here, boop, as I go into this story. I'm going to tell you a quick story time. It's not even a story time, it's just an observation. So when I'm working in somebody's field, God bless you guys, yay, super fun, right? When I'm in someone's field and we're having a session together, we call it multidimensional healing because there are different levels of the field that we, meaning my team and I, and your higher self and all of us, we're having access to. It's not just, oh, look at your skin. This is it. That's one dimensional healing. We're at different levels, right? And we're working in different time frames and all sorts of stuff. And I know that I'm really hitting a higher perspective and moving higher up in the field when I start to connect with your spirit's understanding about the sovereignty. When I start to see, and so this is why I kind of marvel a bit sometimes when I give the person the information, if I notice that the information coming through for this person is acknowledging their agency and acknowledging them as a volitional being and using words like you chose to, right? Or you wanted to, and so therefore you, when it really puts the onus and responsibility on the person, that's when I know that this person is at a certain level of understanding. Maybe they might not know it at that level, but their spirit feels that they're at a certain level of understanding that they can receive that and mull it over. Now, it doesn't mean they won't get angry because they don't want to hear about how, they contributed to whatever was going on in their life, but a lot of times they are open to it and they may need to sit on it for a little bit and kind of feel into it and make the connections for themselves. But at least I know at that moment that it's like, oh, you're at that level where your guides are giving you guidance based on seeing you more as how they see you and less as how, somebody with a lower consciousness would see you, which is that it's your fault and this person's fault. But sometimes maybe because the person isn't ready to hear that yet, they're not at that point in their healing, or maybe because they don't have the awareness to, the mental constructs that are needed to see it that way, then maybe the guidance that comes through will be very detail oriented and he said this and she said that and it wasn't your fault and this and that, and maybe that's speaking to a part of them that needs to hear it, right? So this is what multidimensional healing is. And so sometimes in the same session you can be having a conversation with that person consciously, like, oh, we're talking about this, hey, your guide's saying this, hey, I noticed that, blah blah blah. But then you pause and you let the person know, I'm getting information that you're not going to understand, but there's an aspect of you that is present in this meeting right now who's coming from a past lifetime and they are carrying the pain right? You may not be noticing that, but they're carrying the pain and it is affecting you. And of course, calling in certain experiences because you're magnetizing things that align with that aspect of you. It's an unhealed aspect, right? So if this unhealed aspect is struggling with grief from something in its time, but you never like used a personality in this lifetime, and your conscious mind, you're like, what happened? I never stole anything in my life, but this aspect of you did. It's moving in a certain way that is contributing to your overall experience. You're fragmented, right? See the two? And so when we are doing the intuitive counseling and when we're doing interdimensional healing and all of that, we are creating the conditions for awareness of each other to occur and for healing, which is basically due to a change in perception and therefore self-acceptance. We're creating the opportunity for integration, and that's healing. 15 minutes and 51 seconds. So you see the 15 and 51, integrating the self. So self meets self and is not afraid anymore, doesn't judge self, doesn't blame self, doesn't project onto other people, and takes ownership, right? Now, sometimes, like I said in the session, I'll pause the client, I'll say, oh, hey, there's a part of you that this message that's coming through next is not for you per se, it's for this part of you, and it needs to hear this because it's grieving. It needs to hear that the baby that it lost in that last 2 lifetimes ago or whatever is still here. And in fact, it's your coworker who is your clerk, right? And you may be like, what? I don't even, what? But this part of you becomes soothed. And what that does is it helps them, or this part of you, to undergo the healing that it wasn't able to have in its lifetime. And here you are, let's call you Pedro, super cute, right? Here you are, Pedro, in this lifetime. Guess what? Anything that you might not, finish off, if it's, who can do everything, right? Nobody does everything. Who are you if you do? Call me and teach me your ways, right? In a future lifetime, maybe that essence of you, that is Pedro, will be, working through the soul with a different personality. And that person goes to get a reading, 17 minutes, 17 seconds. And then that person's name is Nicolette and the reader's name is Bunnell. And Bunnell's like, hey, Nicolette, we've got a part, there's a male aspect of yours named Pedro from another lifetime. And he's vibing like around 36 years old. And he's carrying a dream that, sadness around a dream he wasn't able to get off the ground in that lifetime. Nicolette's like, I have no idea what's going on. Who is this? It's you, Nicolette. It's just a different aspect of you that your soul, since you're here, you're going to try to create integration for yourself. So that's why we love to have past lifetime healing when it is appropriate. Sometimes it's not appropriate, so you don't want to force those things, because if you the conscious mind, may be like, oh, this is cool, I want to learn about this, who was I, what happened, blah blah blah, and you could listen to it because for you it's a little bit removed, but the part of you that is still based in that fear, 18 minutes, 18 seconds, and that pain, and hasn't had a chance to move on, and is trying to get itself healed and righted and resolved this lifetime as you're walking this path. We need to be careful when we explain your past lifetime, and we need to have that conversation in a way that includes this part of you. And very often the client who, say Pedro, the client will have a sense of like, oh, okay, I didn't know that I don't know the details, but I can understand the emotion that you're talking about, because I notice sometimes I'll wake up and I'll have that feeling, or I notice I treat this person with that same dynamic, and then they might realize that sometimes that person that they're working with in this lifetime that evokes that dynamic from them was related into that other past. So we just don't know how there are different channels working all over the energy field. The guides, or they want to correct me, the mental field. Yeah, the energy field in the mental body, right? So, wow, that's a lot. Sorry. As a Mercury and Pisces person, where the narrative just, gets lost in the structure of what I'm trying to explain, like taking boundless energy and trying to put it in a linear way, I'm trying to watch my words. So let me take a sip. This is what hot bevies are for. Wow, thank you to the guides for assisting. So, anyway, I just wanted to share that information with you guys because it is a part of what we do when we do intuitive counseling and when we do multidimensional healing. So multidimensional healing, again, is just a term that refers to working with the person in a more holistic way. There's no linear aspect to that. So you can be on different levels of their field. You can be in different time frames if you're looking at it from a linear perspective, which we are if we're talking about it together in this 3D plane. But when you're in the field, it's almost like all this information that's needing to come to you as the healer and the reader is just coming. And that's all there is to it. Now, the skill set, I think, and I use this very I thinky like, the skill set comes in being able to receive all of that and then to bloop, put it into a narrative that is easy to explain. See, it's like she's gathering all this stuff up there, but then it's like putting it into information that is easy for the person to hear. So when you're doing channeling and when you are doing intuitive healing and counseling, and there's that communication, communication component, it's really interpreting. That's what you're doing, interpreting. That being said, I'd like to talk a little bit about light language. So I'm laughing. I'm not going to comment on light language yet. I'm going to talk about talking in tongues. We always think about talking in tongues. And really, to be honest, my only, exposure to talking in tongues is through the media. So we know that if I want to be about something, I'm just going to go ahead and be honest and speak the truth from a sovereign and a philosophical way that a philosophy teacher in Philosophy 101 would love, and say, I've never seen someone talk in tongues. Because if I'm trying to be out here making rules about my world based on what I saw on TV, especially if it's related to certain demographics of the population that don't enjoy let's say, favorable light in mainstream media. Like when it comes to media, we just need to scrap it all. So this is a part of the age of Aquarius and learning to step into your sovereignty. And part of that is understanding that you have to take a physiological approach, 22 minutes, 22 seconds. And that simply asks, how do I know what I know? That's every Philosophy 101 teacher asks that. How do you know what you know? It's like practically written on the board day one. And then you have to sit and you think, well, and you have to answer it. And then you're going to cite credibility and, well, this study and that study and these PhDs and this and that and blah, blah, blah. All citing other things that you never experienced for yourself, never did the research for yourself, but you took what other people told you was the case, and you also took the packaging that it came in. Case in point, when people talk about stuff like this, they don't know how to talk about it. So what do you mean, healing? I mean, what does that have to do with my headache? Some people just literally cannot wrap their minds around these things because they don't have the conditioning to, right? And so it's easy to say things like, oh, it's woo-woo, and I don't want to be woo-woo. I'm just trying to say, it's like the reason why people see the world like that is because of their conditioning. In fact, if you're being about something, you can see what other people are saying. You can see TV, you can listen to that. But then if you really want to be a G, you ask Spirit to show it to you. And think about all the things that you think you know. Where did you hear that from? Like the thing about twins, twin flames and stuff. I started hearing about twins from my guides, from the voices. And I was like, who this? Who that? Who you? Okay, I don't know. Probably a decade before I even heard of that as a concept. But if I had not remembered that, and I just kind of fell into it from YouTube and Instagram and all of this, oh my God, right? So we have to start thinking, where did we hear about these things? Where did we hear about God and about source and about healing and about all of this stuff? Where are you getting that stuff? And you have to have a space for yourself to ask that question, because when you create the space to have that question be a real question, like, wow, where did I first learn about this? Why am I using the terms like woo-woo and crazy and hippie and new age this and new age that? Why am I using all this? Who's in my head? And one of the things that I see that is one of the impacts of this packaging of things, whether it's in this community or anywhere else, one of the sad impacts that I see is the limitation that's placed on new channelers the guides are talking about, new sages they're saying, and they're so funny. They're saying new age warriors. See, I'm laughing at that because I'm like, okay, but you see, I've created the space for something like that to come through independently of me, and I can laugh at it and be like, oh, well, I can laugh and chuckle, but I know that if the guides are saying it, I should probably just wait and, seek first to understand instead of, to be understood and to be out here laughing at stuff, right? Let me take it for what it is, because derision is a programmed result of your conditioning, okay? What better way than to keep someone out of a place? If you can't lock it, ridicule it so that no one wants to be caught going there because of now what their social standing would be. They'd rather be like, oh, don't go in that. That's a stupid hut, because they're so worried about what other people think. But meanwhile, the reason why it's off limits in the first place is because that's where the answer to everything is. As I did that, my eyes fell on the council card. It's all here. And until people start to allow for this place of questioning to be for themselves, they're going to be paying out the nose for these kinds of services that they're able to do for themselves. Now, yes, you'll always need someone to kind of come in and step in and help you at times, right, until you kind of get your way. But the vast majority of struggles that people go through today can be avoided. And I'm not just talking about health stuff. I'm talking about the kinds of jobs they get, the kinds of partners they get, the places that they attract to live. All of these things can be very, very cleaned up if they were to create the space for self-inquiry, self-exploration, and a cultivation of what the guides have said is ideological flexibility. Ideological flexibility looks like this. It's not saying, oh yeah, you just believe in anything. No, because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything. But you don't have to be rigid. In fact, our language reflects that. Hard-headed, narrow-minded, myopic, right? Wrong and strong, right? There's no flexibility. It's rigid, bigoted. Those energies are very harsh energies. But when you're ideologically flexible, that looks kind of like this. Okay, well, it looks kind of like this. Okay, I'm working with these ideas, and they work for me because I felt into my own energy field, and they work for me, but it's okay. Maybe they work today. Tomorrow they don't work because something inside of me changed. My needs changed. I flowed with it. I may double back to that later. And when you don't lash out at other people and talk down at other people and ridicule other people and deride other people, all you're doing is you're leaving your path open to keep flowing without creating static and unnecessary drama. So, I'm just teaching you guys a little bit about how to, I guess, flow without getting stuck. So yeah, going back to what I was saying, once you create the space to be able to ask, how do I know what this is? Wait, what? I can take a stone and do energetic surgery on myself? What? I can see my past lifetimes and the universe and into multiverses through the palm of my hand? What? That sounds stupid. Derision, right? It's an occupational hazard of being on this planet. And so why this information is coming out is because those people who may feel attracted to watch this, and thank you for watching, thank you, you guys have service to do. There's some way that you have agreed to show up in this lifetime that is designed to be of service to others. It's to help, it's to help, it's to help. And so if you're out there and you haven't cultivated the basics, which include cultivating an ideologically flexible mindset, which includes connecting to the heart, the activated heart, which includes doing your shadow work so that you can understand what's going on in your field and make a different choice and nullify those false beliefs, thereby seeing, owning, and healing your projections, and then taking control of your life, and then dedicating your life to purposeful action based on love, if you're struggling, you're not going to be able to do those things properly. And if you're not even aware of these things, then we're shooting at the hip, right? And so that's why the guides are trying to strengthen all of us. And they're saying everything that we do must be based in compassion. There is a law of compassion out there, compassionate outcome. Now, again, when we look at these virtues, like I said, like compassion and generosity and kindness, remember, it's not one-dimensional. It's not even two-dimensional. It becomes multidimensional because, yes, I've always heard this example while I move this table, this example where, is it compassionate to kill someone? Well, in a sense, hold on. The first answer is going to be like, no. And of course, no one wants to be the one doing the killing, God bless, but it depends on the circumstance, right? And I'm not just talking about euthanasia, right? I've heard this example used before. Like, what if somebody was just going on a killing rampage and there was no way to stop them, but you had a chance to do it? And then you took that person's life. Now, this is not me giving a statement, because if we don't even know what we're going to do if we hit a parked car in an empty parking lot, are we going to leave a note or not? There's no way we're going to know what we're going to do. So this is a hypothetical, right, in this situation. But, imagine writing a short story from that vantage point. You're the one standing behind a person who is committing these atrocities, and you have a clear shot. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Down here, it's murder. Depending on the perspective, though, it could be compassion. Compassion for whom? Well, on one level, it could be compassion for all the people that would have been killed. Women, children, animals, men. Men matter too. Hello, right? It could be that you're saving this person from creating countless karma for themselves. That's an act of compassion. It could be an act of compassion for this person because hurt people. I know that sounds like a cliche. Can't even say the word. Sounds like a cliche, but it's not. It could be out of our ability to have compassion for someone because of the heinousness of what they've done. We are only human. But from a higher perspective, that is something that can be done. And in so much so that when you read about these NDEs and hear interviews, people near-death experiences, people who have died and come back, it's always the same thing that they talk about. There is boundless compassion. There is understanding. They understand why and who and what and where and why. Why is it that they're able to do that? Why is it that someone who's gone through healing on this planet, like maybe they had substance abuse, and of course healing is a lifelong journey, but someone who's been sober and clean for, let's say, 20-30 years and they have really been locked into their healing and really going, the look in their eyes is different from before. Why? Because they have done so much work, so much clearing. They're owning themselves. They're owning their projections. They're making breakthroughs that some people down here who haven't even tried and didn't have any substance issues and stuff would probably not be able to do. So you see what I'm saying? The difference in all of this is perspective. It's perspective. Look at her. No wonder they wanted us to put here. We're talking about creating space and widening your perspective. And one of the most powerful ways to widen your own perspective, and if you really want to do some practice, I'm a proponent of practice, even though I need to practice practicing some more. Let's say that you are somewhere just having a very frustrating day, and you just want to choke a fool. Let's just put it out there. You just want to, you want to cause some harm because you're having a rough day and this guy's cutting in front of you. But if you can find a way to get yourself to a place where you're like, okay, Yes, Lord, Lord, you hear me. You know what I want to do, because who am I out here trying to lie? But if you can find a way to remind yourself, oh, that person has a mother. That's somebody's son. That's someone's daughter. Oh, that's someone's husband. Wow, this person probably is employing people who are able to take care of their children and their loved ones and to raise money for their ill family members. And right, what you're doing is you're connecting compassionately to something that exists outside of the meaning that you have given it. And suddenly, because you've expanded your vision and your perspective in that moment, what's able to flow away? Ego, anger, stress, frustration. And you're able to understand it. Yeah, you might still kind of want it. You maybe now you just want to flick them in the nose, right? You're doing something. We got to do something before we leave, right? But you were not in the state of being that you were in before, because it was no longer about you. You were able to widen your perspective and understand that it's not just about you. And everybody's going through something on this road right now. So take a chill pill. Get control. Take control. That's what the guides always say, that. Take control. But how can we take control? They've been telling us. They've told us. Take control by learning to note what you're doing, pausing, introducing mindfulness, consciousness. Acknowledge how you feel. Accept that what you feel is like, hey, it's totally legit from your current perspective. Understand that there are other perspectives going on. Think about it. Do your little tools, breathing, whatever works. And then make another choice. Make a choice. So then you're moving from reacting to responding. 36 minutes, 36 seconds, right? So anyway, widening your perspective is going to save many lives. This is what we're doing when we heal. What we're doing is we're healing our perceptions. We are healing our core beliefs, because from this level of experience, we're not going to believe it. And we'll probably even get angry from amidst our pain and our diagnoses when someone says things like, oh, well, it's your beliefs that led to this. Oh, it's this unhealed trauma from this lifetime or other lifetimes that's led to this. Oh, it's because you don't want to hear that at that moment. But it doesn't mean it's not true. Okay? And so it's a very human way to feel when we're in our pain. But remember, when we are overcoming, when we are bringing in healing frequencies for ourselves, at the end of the day, the body, God bless it, is going to go back to the earth. But what you're healing and you're taking with you is the way that you perceive things. It's healing your perceptions. It's your beliefs that direct your reality. If you believed even a little differently, you probably wouldn't energetically attract this video. And there's no right or wrong or better or worse. It's just more like, what is the most optimal thing that you can attract to you in this moment, right? At the end of the day, there's so many moving parts. And so that's why when the guides have told us, keep to the golden rule. If you forget everything else, imagine you're about to go down the chute into the womb, and the last thing you see is someone putting their foot on your forehead. Bye. And you're like down the little slide, right? The last thing they could possibly just tell you is, hey man, the golden rule. You're like, okay. And then you wake up and you're like, ah. And then of course no one remembers that until they encounter it somewhere. Why is the golden rule such a game changer? Why? Because it implies empathy. Do unto others as you have done unto you. And yeah, you may not care if somebody does the same exact act that you did to them. You may not care, but it'll come back in some other way, even if just in the life review when you see the impact that you've had on that person. Because listen, if you feel like you're heartless down here around certain things and you think some people are heartless, when we get to the other side, that heart opens up, because now we're seeing the big damn picture. We're seeing it. Down here, you can't see certain things. And so that's why when our elders, the ones that actually are imparting, because we are in a world today where we do need to look at our elders too with a side eye, 39 minutes, 39 seconds. Okay, I'm just saying it. But when our wise elders speak, they often speak with minimal words, because to explain things doesn't take so many words unless we're trying to get to the different parts of you multidimensionally. That's what we're doing with all the different words and all the different expressions and the this and that. 40 minutes, 4 seconds, 4004. We're just trying to get to you. But when your elders and your ancestors speak to you and they have wisdom of experience and just wisdom that they've carried with them, and they just say the fewest words, it's the foolish ones that will try to get grandma, grandpa, or ancestor to explain themselves. Cite your sources. What are you talking about? Tell me more. And some things you cannot communicate to people who don't have the wisdom. You just don't. They don't have the capacity to understand it. And so, sometimes when we're watching and laughing a little bit, but just having a good time, these things would wax on and wax off. And the person's just waxing. Why the hell am I waxing this car forever? You're not even driving it. Because the lesson that is being instilled within you can be derived from the action. And when you get quiet and you just do and you embody and you experience, then you move into a form of learning and a form of acquisition, which are two different things, by the way. But when you move into a form of learning and acquisition, what you're doing is you're gleaning. You're gleaning things. You're gleaning information that is flowing to you along different channels of your field, your being. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so a lot of times when we are watching, YouTube and Instagram, and I know I'm on there too. I'm on there like a lot. So much so that I actually paid for YouTube Premium. My bad. I don't want commercials. But anyway, when I'm on there and I'm, tuning in to watch these pundits and these people with their opinions and this and that, and I chalk it up to entertainment, because I just look and I just see, is this person, do they look like they know themselves? Are they sitting and reflecting? Are they, and you feel into their field when who is this? And are they somebody that I would like to view the world through? I would say most people are not, because when you're just hearing them and they're in their fervor and they've got all these degrees behind them and they've got all of these society, high society, whatever. But at the end of the day, there's no heart. And maybe they have heart for some and not for all. Maybe it's reserved, whatever. But moving into this day and age, that's why the guides say, golden rule, activated heart. Because the heart allows you to see through the mists. Do you understand what I mean when I say that? To see through the mists. We are in a time, and they were out here saying this since last year around November. They were saying you must learn to practice, everything's practice, your virtues. Golden rule, practice your virtues, watch the vices, because soon you are not going to be able to tell what's real from unreal. The only way, and I'm telling you, they're saying this, the only way that you will be able to discern truth from untruth is through the heart space. And you have to activate your heart. It's the activated heart that is going to do this. It's going to literally direct your chakras and put it into alignment, creating an energy within your field that can sense BS, an energy in your field that is oriented towards higher frequencies, an energy in your field that has compassion. And so please, I want you to know that this doesn't mean that you're not going to have the ability to think. In fact, you're going to have a better ability to apply heart-based logical reasoning. Because when you are not in your heart space and your core beliefs are unloving, 44 minutes, 22 seconds, it jacks up the whole system. Because And your energy field, your core belief, is what flavors everything else in your field. It makes your thoughts, it drives your motivation for life and what you want to accomplish and why you want to accomplish it. It informs the thoughts that you think, which gives rise to the fears that you have. It informs your emotions, your gut reactions. And so that's why people can work their entire lifetime towards a cause and then realize that they were in the wrong place altogether. They were championing the wrong thing because there was no heart. But they could have sworn that it was the right thing. It made sense. It was logical. By society's standards, it made sense. It was logical, yes, but the principles were not heart-based. And if something's not heart-based, it's not real. It's fake. It's a construct that will eventually erode because it's not a real thing, right? This is when we heal, these constructs transmute because we heal our beliefs. But no matter how much you heal, you're never going to get rid of the heart chakra and its frequencies because that's the real thing. It goes all the way up on all levels. Everything else that is outside of love is not a real construct. It may have a physical reality here, and it may terminate with a structure in another dimension, but when we do multidimensional healing, we can get in there and clear that. And all of a sudden, you start to think clearer down here because that was the blockage. It was based off of a false belief, and thoughts are things. And so we cleared that. And when we cleared that, that's great because now you won't have any physical issues coming from that situation unless you already do. And that's why you're here to talk about it, right? But you see, so when your core beliefs are off and they're not in a state of love, you can bet that you're not thinking properly, you're not feeling properly. Things will feel good, but it's not good for you. You'll think certain things are logical and they make sense and it's the right decision to do. It ain't right. And you will have gut reactions and feel justified in doing that. Speak English. You're in America. You're justified because you have these thoughts and your principles and this and that. When you get into the heart space, all of that is like smoke. It disappears because it's not real. It's not based in love. And it's very easy in this age, especially as we move into this age of Aquarius where technologies are just bam, bam, bam. It's just hitting us left, right, center. Now we have technology where you can't even tell if that's the actual person on there. By the way, we've had this for a long time. It's just making its way into society because we've been allowed to have it. So again, I just always want to drive this point home. That's my baseball. I don't play baseball, but I just hit the ball. I want to drive this point home and make sure you remember it if you don't remember anything else. During this age, you are going to be introduced to things about extraterrestrials, about ET technology, about species, about beings, and this narrative is going to change from, oh, I think there's water on Mars and I think there's microorganisms, to, oh, there are beings and they're traveling here. It's going to change. But your job now is to get into the heart space. This is not a heart thing, and I love you. This is your energetic frequency so you can program your field. Why? So that you can think for yourself. Because you're going to be sold a story about your place in the galaxy and about who's out there and who's in there and what they want and who they want to work with and what they think about you. You got to unplug from all of that. So I would say in the future, very near future, maybe a decade, maybe some more, it's probably already being touted in places that you're just not tapped into because you're not doing that research, or you got other stuff going on. You're waiting for it to come on Channel 7, which, dear God, by the time it comes on the news, you're done. Now you're just in Kool-Aid land, right? I want you to remember, you cannot trust what is being told to you. And that is just how it goes. So we go back to this idea of philosophy. How do you know what you know? You can sit here and you can get in touch with your body. And it's to the point that if you really start to understand that you could do all this stuff, You have healers out here not even telling you that. And I always say, look, I'm not trying to put myself out of business, because I enjoy this and it's great and fun. But why would I try to keep this information out from people who already know this on some level? We're just reminding you. And right now, we don't have the luxury of just kind of gatekeeping. Right now is the time to say, hey, you need to get it together, because these are basic things that everybody should know. At all ages, you should know. I mean, a 6-month-old can get a pass. Okay, they're just suckling and doing little cute things, right? But the rest of us, we should be on this. We should be on this. The landscape should be completely different. You have a headache, don't even reach for things before you try other things. I can't even tell you. It's like a miracle sometimes. And while it may not cure everything, while energy healing may not cure everything in the physical body for different reasons, sometimes it is your karma to experience certain things. Sometimes you just don't have the belief system there to create, because your beliefs create your reality, right? There are many different things that go into it, but you can clean up, I'd say, about 70% of your life by starting to get in touch with yourself, acknowledging your sovereignty, understanding what that means. Being a sovereign being, yes, it comes with responsibility, but it becomes with personal responsibility, and it does require a step towards acknowledging your actions as your own volition. Now, you may not be able to, in your current state of consciousness, see how your thoughts and your beliefs and your actions led to this. But if you take some time and seek to understand, as opposed to trying to get things to fit into your own language and your framework, no, we're opening up and we're expanding so that we can shift. Because higher dimensions, all those are adding other dimensions, which give you a wider understanding, a wider perspective of what's happening. And so you cannot move into these higher dimensions if you're not bringing the consciousness, if you're not seeking to understand, if you're not allowing for things to come in, to feel into it, to check with yourself, to do your muscle testing, 51 minutes, 51 seconds. There's so many modalities that are out here, and through a lot of people trying to just come and give. There are geopathic stress healers, there are past life regressionists, there are light therapists, there's scalar energy practitioners. We know and love our Reiki practitioners. We have people out here doing intuitive counseling. We've got everything. Of course, the blessings that are acupressure and acupuncture. We've got core energetics. There are so many things. Craniosacral work, all of this stuff. So when people are just kind of just sitting there and allowing life to just throw them to and fro, we have to, and to sit and just consume the news and consume and buy and this and that and reach for the meds and this and that. Yes, do you, but really try to cultivate a deeper and richer sense of awareness. And it starts with you tapping into your sovereignty and understanding that it's you. At the end of the day, you. No one wants to hear, oh, that guy told me this and that made me. No. That person, just like every other energy out here, presented energy to you. You acted upon it. What was your thought process? Did you sit? Did you feel into it? Did you think? Did you identify what's happening? Did you do anything? Or did you just react? Right? And so we start to get tripped up with these kinds of questions. Imagine how potent it will be when we cross over and we're like, oh, okay. All right, I say, all right, guys, let's just present me the stuff so I can get out of here. Because I know. And of course, no one's judging you on the other side. The whole point is you came here because you wanted to effect change within yourself and therefore outside of yourself. But to do so, you have to start, get up from the floor. You're sitting right now, and when you get up, you realize, oh, it's my 2 feet. Just because things are before me doesn't mean I have to adopt it as my belief. In fact, what are my beliefs? And what are they doing to kind of take me forward or keep me back? Let's take a look. And if you're still in a place where you're blaming when you tell your narrative, that's a sign that you're still in a place where you have to have some pain witnessed. You have to talk about it. You have to process it. If you're kind of further along and you're like, oh, okay, I can see how, things, I may have saw certain things a certain way and I'm willing to see it a different way, okay? And then when you're really further and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I could see that because I saw that at that time I had just lost a job and energetically there were a lot of things in my field. I wasn't practicing proper earthing. Yeah, the guides are saying, you see, another thing, I would never say the word earthing, proper earthing or grounding. I wasn't, using my energy hygiene tools. I was looking for adventure because there was a part of me that was lashing out from age 16 that I never resolved. And then my mother coming back into town, it just threw me out of whack. That's the kind of awareness we're moving you towards, because that's actually what's happening. And that's what you're paying your readers, God bless, to look at and to point out to you and be like, hey, these are what's in your field, because we're able to see interdimensionally what's happening. And right now, when you get that information, you take it and you do something with it. You heal it, you work through it, you ponder upon it, because everything that everybody's out here doing to better themselves, you can too. It's just time to get started. And a lot of you are contracted, God bless, thank you for your service, to assist others. But how can you assist others when you're kind of struggling? And I know, because I'm struggling too, in many ways. 55 minutes, 44 seconds. I don't know why there was alignment for that part, but whatever. We're going to let it go. Letting it go right now. Right? So we're all out here doing our best. And remember, no matter where you find yourself in life, high, low, up, down, in, out, diagonally, Spirit can always use you to be of service to others. But wouldn't it be great to be used as the what to do and not the what not to do? I mean, I'm just saying. Maybe you just need to be a shoulder for someone to cry on. Maybe you just need to point something out. Maybe someone just needs to see you in your cute little sweater and remember something about themselves. And then they go home and they start writing that book that they wanted to write for so long. We don't know how we are being used to assist others. But the beautiful thing about it is when you step into consciousness, you are stepping into self-awareness. You cannot change the outside if you do not change the inside. It's always going to be an inside job. And I guarantee you that if we look into your field, even the surprises, I won the lotto and the stuff that you had in life, it was readable in your energy field before then. So that should give you a little bit of a tip, like, oh, maybe I should start learning to assess my energy field so that I can sense incoming energy weeks ahead of time. And by the way, when you're doing that, you're just using your multidimensional senses. You're not waiting out here for that knock on the door. You're feeling it when the wind changes. You're like, oh shoot, this person's face just came into mind. Oh, I need to, or just independently, it rains and you just happen to look outside and boom, you just have this feeling that you need to pack your bags. Okay, I'm going to go pack my bags. Then guess what? 2 weeks later, someone invites you on this trip and you're ready because you knew it. Information was starting to come in because it's there. The information is there. It's in your now moment. But your human physical eyes cannot perceive of the now moment. It is not wired that way. It will perceive of what's in front of you. But this is a past moment. This is only the past. Anything you see around you in the physical is a past moment, because we create and we make based on our beliefs and our thoughts. And one of the rules of this planet is it doesn't just manifest right away. It takes time to get into the physical plane. So by the time things hit your physical plane, it's already your past. So don't even worry about it. If you don't like what you see, then close your eyes and know that in your present moment, just shift things around a bit. Call in your angels. Ask for your higher self to come in. This is power. That's power. And it's not taught to you in schools. It's not taught to you by where are our wisdom keepers again? Oh, that's right. They were stamped out by the powers that be in many different ways, right? So when you're stepping into your power, you're understanding that you're so powerful. And that's why. How do you keep a powerful being disempowered? Well, you teach it to hate itself. You teach it to forget itself. And that's what we've done. And then you teach it to ridicule and to murder and to ostracize, to basically give away those that come to remind them. And so I would invite you, the next time you guys use those derisive terms like woo woo, and there's so many terms, that is the only one that keeps coming to mind. I would advise you to stop, as with all things, and ask, where did I get that information from? And ask yourself, what do I get out of having those thoughts, aside from me creating, my own limitations? Nothing. And I'm out here, guys. I keep forgetting to advertise for myself, which I really need to be better about business and stuff. So you could know that I'm not trying to trap you into anything. I'm not trying to lie to you. I'm not trying to solicit. In fact, I've never made any money off of my YouTube channels. So if you've ever seen commercials in there, that wasn't me, because I don't put commercials in any of my stuff. And if you don't have commercials, you're not getting paid on those platforms. So if I'm giving it to you and I'm telling you, you could do all of this for free. It's easy. All you do is sit down and feel into yourself. Of course, you can find me, because we do that. We assist in everything you need. We meaning me and my spirit team, right? But you and your spirit team, you're out here. You didn't just get off the boat yesterday. You know what's up. You're just needing to remember. So I'm going to leave you here, because we'll talk for hours. I'm going to leave you here. And how beautiful under this moon in Aquarius innovation. How beautiful to remind you of the pathway. You see the pathway opening up for you. Technology replacing everything? Wait, now I can't even write my own essays? Wait, what? And now we have to, there's actually, I don't know if you've noticed, there's, going with ChatGPT, there's actually software out there that you can use to determine whether what somebody has created is AI. And there's software out there to get you to get around that software that helps you to determine whether something is AI written. And I'm so glad I'm not teaching in the classroom anymore right now, because we already had struggles with plagiarism. I'm just going to leave it at that. And we used to have to use turnitin.com to determine if somebody was using an essay from their friend over in another state or another part of the world. But now we have, listen, deep fakes, we've got AI doing stuff for us. Where's the energy? If you're creating stuff and you're building something, yes, you can go towards having a proofreading, having something come in and refine it, blah, blah, blah. But when you're out here just like, hey, help me write my speech that I want to give to my clients and my energy, where's you? And now you're keeping your essence out. You're introducing an element that is not you. And so there's beauty in innovation. Innovation has so many wonderful things. Is this tech great? Yeah, why not? It helps with so many things. But technology put in the hands of the immature spirit and soul and energy is going to be misused. So I'm just going to ask you in this time and place, when the guides are like, notice the deviation, whether you want to say it's a repeat of Atlantis and people who were in Atlantis are back again. You're being asked to choose, to lead, to make choices. That's irrelevant. To get around all of that, as we said, golden rule will keep you in the heart space. Make sure you activate your heart, and make sure you feed your heart by practicing the virtues, by learning to see and stay away from the vices, and using ideological flexibility to learn how to balance all of these. What is the kindest approach here? What is the most compassionate approach here? It's not black and white. We're not there anymore. We're in multidimensional thinking. Learning how to think for yourself means that you are responsible for the pathway that you lead. And just because you pass from this world and into the next world and then the next and the next, doesn't mean that you leave your stuff behind. The only thing you leave behind is this beautiful vessel that has been given to you, which is only one out of the many other bodies. So imagine and now you're off. And you're going wherever you're going with your stuff. So right now, the guides are asking, they're showing this card. They're saying a lot of people want to make money right now. They're saying, but ask where your value is at. Ooh. Gosh, so strong. So strong. Why? But yes, ask where your values are at, especially if you're in this field or whatever field you're in and you're trying to be of service. Where's your value? What's your value? Are you doing this work to get a paycheck? Are you doing this to elevate yourself, to see your name on billboards? What are you doing? And why? What's your plan? What's the point? And how are you doing it? The how matters. The how matters is what they're saying. If you're doing something without, working with your higher self, without tapping in, whether it's raising children, writing books, holding sessions, being a plumber, doing street art, whatever you're doing, if you're doing it without connection to the heart, what are we doing? What are you doing and why? Now you're just making money. Money is just your own energy, by the way. And you see, some people are so abundant, they can make money and they have no heart attached to it. We see it all the time. So as we move forward, this is a time to really get in touch with your values and follow what they said. Golden rule, practice your virtues, practice staying away from the vices, right? Grounding / earthing yourself. Staying in intention with something bigger than yourself. What's that? Your higher self. If you don't call in another angel, another ascended master, another archangel, all this stuff can go by the wayside. Love you guys. They're like, hey, just kidding, they're not. But at the end of the day, all you need is to call up to your higher self, because your spirit team already knows what it needs to do. Although, I like to ask for hugs from mine, and I really do get it, trust me. You don't need to get bogged down in all of that, because also a lot of people get bogged down in a lot of those kinds of details. We don't need to know the who and the this and the that, and just heart. Last thing I'm going to say, I know I said that before, but for reals this time, the last thing I'm going to say is that I forgot to mention, the guides actually talked about Cryon. So Lee Carroll, who's amazing, channels Cryon, right? So check that out, Kryon, Cryon. And it's interesting because I've always seen his name around. I've seen them, Cryon and Lee Carroll, the channel. I see them all the time on Gaia TV. I see them on YouTube, but I've never come into alignment with them. And then the other day, somebody referred one of their videos to me. You know who you are. Hi. And I watched it and I was like, oh, this is exactly what I needed right now. And then at some point, because I was just binging, at some point I just felt, boop. And they were like, you got what you needed from it. Meanwhile, my conscious mind's like, but I'm in the middle of the video. But then I didn't feel the need to watch anymore. So you see that when something is for you, it comes in. So that's multidimensional learning. You don't have to take the whole course. You don't have to get the certificate, for your PhD. If your soul's like, I got what I needed, go. You're done. Because your curriculum is different. You're different now, and it's very important to understand that, because we're making wise leaders. I love it. I put the spin on it, but the guides, they're like, we're making wise leaders. You're already wise. You've already volunteered. Here you are. Now it's time to get you built up, is what they're saying. And I see them putting your feet, super cute, boop, on the floor, planting it and squeezing your ankles, because then we're just going to firm you up. Now, you may already be firmed in whatever it is that you're doing, but allow yourself right now, moving forward, to have some, I keep wanting to say electrical flexibility. Sure, it's the same thing, right? I guess. Energetic flexibility, so that they can position you in a way that is best for you to do your stuff. Because you are a grounding force here, and the energy is coming through you, the conduit, so that you can help to ground and earth these higher frequencies. And we can't be out here acting the fool, so let's do our best. Anyway, my tea's cold, and that's okay. First world problems. So thank you so much, you guys, for listening, and I want to thank all of my divine beings. You guys are the best, all of your spirit teams and everyone here. It's such a blessing. I'm just feeling them lift off. Bye. And of course, if you'd like to work more closely with me and my team, you know exactly where to find us. Guys, we have not gone anywhere. So, but until then, I invite you to keep doing your best, okay? Mwah. Super kisses and super hugs. Bye.